Welcome back to NATOR'S Game Picks, ladies and gentlemen. Week 11 recap. One of the best weeks I've had in a while. Our best week of the consistent weeks. Out of 14 games, I got 12 right, 2 wrong. The 2 I got wrong, I had the 49ers over the Seahawks. The Seahawks beat them. And I had the Bengals over the Chargers. The Chargers prevailed at home. And the upset alert of the week went through as the Bills beat the Chiefs, handing them their first loss of the year. For the whole year, that's 113 right and 53 games wrong. Without further ado, let's go ahead and look at the Week 12 matchups. All right, guys, let's listen up. So we got 6 teams on a bye for Week 12. 6 teams. We have the Falcons, Bills, the Bengals, Jets, and we also have the Jaguars and Saints. So 6 teams are on bye, leaving 13 matchups across the league. So let's go ahead and get started with Thursday night. We have the Steelers at the Browns. Steelers coming off of the win against the Ravens. The Browns lost on the road against the Saints. Browns at home, first matchup, these 2 division opponents. Browns are playing for next year. I don't know, like the defense didn't look like they were trying much late in the game against the Saints as they were getting the ball ran down their throats. The Steelers won a game with only hitting field goals, and they play that style of ball. I don't expect this to be easy for the Steelers. I think it'll be a little ugly in the division opponent's home stadium, but I do think they come out with a win here of a score of 27-9. Moving on now to the Sunday slate of games, we have the Chiefs at the Panthers. This is a potential little upset lurker. It's not my upset alert of the week, but it's a potential upset. As the Panthers came off of a bye, they ran the ball very effectively. Bryce Young is looking more confident in his play, and the Chiefs have kind of struggled offensively to generate many explosive plays, as their defense has been their forefront of most of the season. But on the road here, I do expect the Chiefs to come out with a win, although it may not be pretty. I do expect them to win here at 23-16. Now the Vikings at the Bears. This will be my upset alert of the week. As the Bears almost beat the Packers last week at home, came down to a blocked field goal in the remaining seconds. I think the Vikings here, they're 8-2. The first time that these 2 division opponents play. The Bears being at home, I think they come out here and play just as inspired as they did against Green Bay. And they started running the ball with an attitude, and it looked good in that game against Green Bay. And these are tough division opponents right here. The Vikings, since trading for Cam Robinson and Christian Darrisaw went to IR with that injury, they haven't been as sharp on offense. They had somewhat of a bounce back week last week against the Titans, but even then failed to score more than 24 points. So in this one, I look for them to also struggle against a much better Bears defense that can stop the run. So I think the Bears win here. Upset alert of the week, 21-20 at home. Moving on, we have the Titans at the Texans. As mentioned, the Titans lost to the Vikings last week, and the Texans prevailed against the Cowboys on Monday Night Football. Texans come back at home. They got Nico Collins back healthy. Big, much-needed addition back for them with Stephon Diggs going to IR. Joe Mixon's running the ball out of his mind. Against the Titans defense, that's actually pretty decent. But since they're at home, the Titans are struggling offensively mostly. I think this is favor the Texans, as defensively they're a very sure tackling team, and don't see no reason for them to miss tackles or play sloppy, because they need to win these division games to secure that top spot in the AFC South, as the Colts might be trying to creep up on them. But I think the Texans win here at home against a division opponent of a score of 31-17. Now we have the Lions at the Colts. Lions blew out the another AFC South opponent, AFC South team, I should say, in the Jaguars last week, over 40 points. Now they go at Indianapolis. I think this is going to be a little tougher for them, but I think Detroit is they're clicking on all cylinders. Unless the Colts are able to keep the ball out of the Lions' offense hands, it's not going to help much, because they score very fast and they score very quickly. So the Colts got to make sure they don't turn the ball over, as this Detroit Lions defense leads all of the NFL with interceptions. So this is something for Anthony Richardson, who had his best career game last week, to look out for. Maybe they want to cut down on some of the designed runs for him, and maybe give more carries to their backup running back, although Jonathan Taylor is in the forefront. It's going to take a lot for the Colts here. They need to play a near perfect game to have a chance, and I think they get close, but it's just going to be not enough to overcome against the best team in the NFC currently. So I think the Lions win on the road here, 35-24. Moving on, we got the Patriots at the Dolphins, AFC East divisional matchup here. I think the Patriots are very competitive. They definitely found their quarterback of the future in Drake May. He has a high completion percentage. He throws with confidence, and he's showed that he can be a pro quarterback. Obviously, his pass protection can get better. That's going to come with time. And against the Dolphins defense that's starting to come into their own on a 2-game winning streak since their bye week, I think this is going to be a good chance for them to get one win closer to 500, as they're currently 4-6. They need to win this to get one game closer. As mentioned, I think they do that here at home. The Tagovailoa and Hill has gotten some touchdown pass connections in the last 2 games. Now it's just for Jalen Waddle to get involved, as Jonnu Smith had a breakout game last week as well. So I think the Dolphins beat the Patriots at home, a score of 26-17. Buccaneers at the Giants. Both teams coming off of a bye week from the week before. The Giants are 2-8, and the Buccaneers 4-6. I think this is a game the Bucs need, as they can try to catch up to the Falcons, who lost last week and are going into a bye this week. Get them closer to 500 again against the Giants team, who recently made the announcement that they benched Daniel Jones for Tommy DeVito, or Tommy Cutlets. And he's going to be starting against the Tampa Bay defense. Big opportunity here for him, and he's going to have a home crowd. Defense is probably going to play inspired against the Buccaneers team, who I think they might be getting Mike Evans back healthy for this game. They definitely need him. He's been out with a hamstring for the last 5 weeks now, so that's going to be one to look out for if he plays or not. This defense has been banged up, Jamel Dean and some of the people up front. But this front seven is typically pretty good against the run, as the Giants may want to try to get that run going to help out their new starting quarterback. But I do think the Buccaneers come out with the win. I think Baker Mayfield takes care of the ball, doesn't force nothing, and I think they win here with a score of 28-16. But it's expected to be a lot close. I expect this to be a close game throughout. Moving on, we got the Cowboys at the Commanders, 2 NFC East opponents. The first matchup for them this whole year. Commanders at home. They had a bye week last week, and they needed it because Jaden Daniels looked like he was a little nicked up on that Thursday night loss to the Eagles. Oh, I'm sorry, they didn't have a bye. They played the Eagles on Thursday, so they've had a mini bye, you can say. All be said that the Jaden Daniels still needed the time to rest. The Cowboys will definitely want to exploit that, try to attack him, as the Commanders didn't do much to get their playmakers on offense involved against the Eagles, like Terry McLaurin, and they just tried to run the ball and really go on a lot of underneath routes against the Cowboys defense that's been struggling. I expect them to try to get some favorable matchups for their playmakers. As for the Cowboys, they started Cooper Rush. He passed for 55 pass attempts against the Texans. Maybe not going to be a winning formula against the Commanders secondary. That's probably going to have Marshawn Lattimore suit up. Coming off a hamstring injury, he may not, but if he does, this will be his first game as a Commander. And in general, this pass rush has played a lot well. They have 3 former Cowboys players, the Commanders have, so maybe they'll play extra inspired against this Cowboys team who's currently struggling. So with that being said, I think the Commanders win at home over the Cowboys with a score of 27-13. Moving on, we got to the second slate of games, the 4 p.m. slot. We have the Broncos at the Raiders, West Coast. This will be the second time these two teams play, so I expect the Raiders to be more competitive and potentially give the Broncos a lot of fits. But the Broncos do look pretty good as a team. Bo Nix had this career game last week, had a near perfect pass rating. I think it was perfect. And then against the Raiders team, who has very limited weapons to use on offense, other than Brock Bowers, a rookie tight end, who's looking very good, and a quarterback room that's not really inspired, and a defense that is decent but still has some holes and some maturing from their young players to do. So I think the Broncos take advantage of this, and they have to stay on the win streak as they're competing with the Chargers and the Chiefs, or Chiefs and the Chargers in the loaded AFC West. So, and of course, getting into that wild card playoff race. So I think this is a game they need. I think they win this on the road in Las Vegas. I think they win with a score of 30-10. Moving on, we got the 49ers at the Packers. Packers at home. Come a big win against the Bears team last week against their division rivals. 49ers got upset by a division rival in the Seahawks at home. So I think the Niners probably play better on the road here. But I do think the Packers, considering Jordan Love has to slow down on some of those mistakes, he still does a great job of finding his playmakers. He has so many different weapons that he can take turns. One game is 2 or 3 receivers doing good, and the other game is the tight ends, and maybe the backfield stepping up doing good. Josh Jacobs is running the ball hard. I think this is the key to beat a Niners defense who's kind of slowly been battling injuries. I still don't think Dre Greenlaw is going to be back healthy, as he tore his ACL in the Super Bowl last year. So this is going to be a tough task for them, and I think the Packers have their number. Well, Niners had the Packers number in the past too, but the Packers in this situation, I think I would favor them. I think Brock Purdy gets some plays off, but I think he doesn't make enough plays down the stretch in the end to take advantage and put the Niners in a wing position. So I got the Packers coming out on top here at home, 29-27. Now we have the Cardinals at the Seahawks. Seahawks coming off of a big win. Cardinals had a bye last week. They're over 500. Seahawks are 5-5 and playing a 6-4 division leader. I think this is the game where they're going to come out flying around. Mike McDonald's going to have his defense ready. He sent Devin Witherspoon on a blitz against the Niners last week, so blitzing some DBs. Tariq Woolen in coverage looked a lot better. Julian Love in the back end of that defense. And this Cardinals team is rolling. They're coming into Seattle and going to try to run the ball with James Conner. Nasty mentality right there, as they have showed that they can. Trey McBride, one of the more underrated and probably one of the best tight ends in the game. He's going to cause a matchup problem for these Seahawks defenders, and I expect the Cardinals to take advantage of that. But this is probably going to be one of the better games of the week because I think both teams have a lot at stake. And I think the Seahawks with Geno Smith, after that inspiring win last week, maybe they make it 2 in a row here. And I think they come out on top at home, 24-20. Sunday Night Football but between Sunday Night and Monday Night Football, the doubleheader in LA. Both LA teams are home hosting. Eagles at the Rams. Rams coming off of a big win in Foxborough. Matthew Stafford throwing for almost 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. They need a similar game against the Eagles secondary that's hardly giving up any yards. A Rookie of the Year, a defensive Rookie of the Year candidate in Quinyon Mitchell that hasn't allowed more than 40 yards in coverage in any game this year, which is insane. He's going to have a big task now as you have Cooper Kupp and or Puka Nacua that he has to cover in this game. I think the Rams will try to isolate and get those guys going. Their stretch run zone scheme with Kyron Williams to open up the pass with play action. So, but this interior pass rush of the Eagles is very good, especially Jalen Carter. And that is the best way to, I would say, disrupt this play action game of the Rams. I think the Eagles do that, but I do think the Rams will win some matchups too. This will be a fun game. I think the Rams have a good chance at home, but this Eagles team, there's just something about now that Jalen Hurts has both his receivers back healthy, Saquon Barkley is on pace to being an Offensive Player of the Year candidate. I think this is a game the Eagles come in and they win, as they probably looking at the Commanders and the other team in that division as thinking if they're going to win, then they need to win, even if they're playing a better opponent. So I think the Eagles here come into LA at the SoFi Stadium. I think they get the win of a score of 24-21. Now that sets up Monday Night Football, another game in SoFi Stadium hosted by the other LA team, which is the LA Chargers. Ravens at Chargers. Ravens coming off a loss against the Steelers. Tough game for them. A lot of missed opportunities. They had 3 turnovers. Chargers team that almost lost to the Bengals, but they were in control most of the game, and they finished the game out with clutch plays and made the plays necessary. They got their running game going as well. Justin Herbert was running the ball pretty well. I think this will be a matchup of 2 somewhat running quarterbacks, as Herbert only runs when he has to, but Lamar Jackson too. The key for the Ravens will be to give Derrick Henry the ball at least 20 times, whether it's 20, as long as there's 20 touches in general. They need to wear down this Chargers defense in the second half. If they pass it too much, that's going to favor the Chargers, as their secondary is pretty good. Obviously, they allowed a lot of yards against Joe Burrow and the Bengals, but who doesn't allow a lot of passing yards to that team? And the Chargers have ran the ball with some attitude and been physical. They need to maintain that through 4 quarters if they want to have a chance to beat the Ravens. I think they do. I think they come out on top here against a really good Ravens team. I think they win with a score of 34-30, handing the Ravens 2 consecutive back-to-back losses, and some questions there to be answered for them. But overall, those are the 13 matchups. I think it's going to be a good week. And then on to week 13, there's no teams on byes, as we have the 3 games on Thanksgiving and 1 special one on Black Friday. So we'll break those down next week. As of now, enjoy week 12. I'll see you guys soon.